Everybody, and welcome to another edition of Recapping Time and Space. I am your friendly neighborhood Soda of Gallifrey, joined this week by my companions, Ben Smith and 50 Shades of Drums. How are you guys doing?
Excellent. Can't really talk about this season. There was action-packed, some great episodes in it, and I can't wait.
The sound of the drums. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
How you doing, 50?
Still recovering from finishing watching those episodes last night.
Yes.
And like I told you off air, it's always an emotional journey for me because these are the seasons I've watched the most. It's Eccleston and the Three Tenants seasons are the ones I binged the most. I think I said this last time. My dad had this. He had all those seasons on VOD at the time. This is way before Matt Smith, and I just watched them all on repeat. I used to watch a season a day, and obviously since my parents are divorced, I used to go there once every weekend, and that was basically how I spent my weekends. I just sat there and just watched all 4 seasons.
I don't know if I asked this last time, but I'm curious. Was it in English or was it in Hebrew?
No, it was in English. There was no Hebrew, obviously. They had Hebrew subtitles, which now revisiting these seasons, I'm noticing they got a lot of these things wrong. Yeah, but that's
they
the
usually
thing.
do when they translate.
Yeah.
All right, so what are you guys' thoughts on the Martha Jones series? I'm going to say it. I think it's the best written of the start of the Tennant series.
Honestly, I still give the edge to his final season, series 4, because other than one episode, I love all the episodes in that series, and the one I don't like might shock you because it's considered one of the best, but we'll get to that later. However, this season's definitely up there. This season, I think I still love the second season, but this season's a much needed improvement. Yeah, especially with the music. The music's definitely stepped up a notch. And I still like... Okay, I'll finish my thought. I still think the improvements they made to the new musical pieces they introduced in this season, the improvements they made to them in the next season are still great, but it's the ones in this season that I gravitate to the most.
For me, I still feel like I think this is where we finally see the Tennant Doctor finally unleashed, for lack of a better term, because season 2, while good, it still is attached to Eccleston's series. So I feel like this is the first series where we got just all Tennant stuff.
Yeah.
Can I
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
You kick us. You shut us up anytime you want.
Yeah.
I love this season. Like you guys had a great evolution of the characters. I wish in this one, I love Martha, but I didn't prefer Rose. I didn't feel she was a better companion with Tennant, and while Martha was great, I couldn't get past the fact that she always had a tint of jealousy when it came to what was. And he was never able to move on like that. And that kind of annoyed me. I don't know.
Are you kidding? I thought that's what made it great, because it's the first. Yeah. Rose is the true love. Martha is the unrequited love. And Donna, coming up next season, is the best friend.
See, here's where I see the differences between Rose and Martha. They could have just brought in Martha as the replacement girlfriend, and they didn't. They went in a completely different direction. She was, I don't want to say the word rebound girl, but she was...
the rebound companion.
Yeah, she was the one who was in love with the Doctor from the start, but he never saw it the way he saw it with Rose. And here's one of the main reasons I give Martha the edge over Rose at this stage of my life, obviously. Rose sorry to say this, she was a bit obsessive. And you want to talk about jealous girlfriend? Take a look at the episode with Madame de Pompadour. She was the Interestingly enough, like you said last time, that was actually David Tennant's girlfriend at the time. Beside the point, she was the obsessive one. She refused to leave him. She, even in Doomsday, she straight up left her mom and Mickey and her dad on the other world, didn't even say a word, and just came back because she wanted to be the Doctor. And even in, spoiler alert, season 4, she wanted to go back and be with the Doctor. And Martha, where she gets the edge is that she eventually grew out of it.
Yes.
She had the emotional maturity to say, hey, this guy clearly doesn't want me. He will never see me as anything more than a friend. I gotta move on. And she eventually she moved on. She found her one true boyfriend in Lucifer Morningstar, apparently.
Wait, what?
That was Tom Milligan, the Doctor. She calls right at the end. The guy she spends most of the final episode with. That's Tom Ellis, Lucifer Morningstar.
Yep.
Shit, I didn't even realize that was him.
Yeah.
I sent you a picture in our group chat. You didn't even look at it.
I do like that aspect of Martha, and what I find funny is rewatching it now in 2021 is that is a season I can definitely see being done now because of the emotional maturity of Martha. She realizes she's in a toxic relationship and needs to get out, and it's not toxic in like what most.
It's not abusive.
It's not abusive. It's just it's not fair, if that makes sense.
It's not the relationship she needs.
Exactly.
Right now.
It's not healthy. Yes. And you could tell she
also
loves the Doctor, but it's not in that same way anymore. Where, like, I like it at the end. It's like, if I call you, you better come running. And spoilers, he does.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason she gave him a phone. And also, spoilers, she continues that same emotional maturity to the next season. That's why, again, I think Martha is my favorite David Tennant companion. And one of my favorite companions overall.
And she's also the one that's done the most, too, because she also appeared in Torchwood for a time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Actually, I mean, if you want to talk about done the most, I mean, it's a dead giveaway. It's Sarah Jane Smith.
Oh, for sure. But
you can't make the argument.
I'm talking modern companions.
Okay. I mean, even if you bring that element in, it's got to be Jack, right? Jack Harkness. Because not only he appeared in several seasons, he also got his own spin-off show, and he's still coming back in the next season.
That's true.
I was about to say, can I count Jack Harkness as a companion? Because if I can, he's
any
my
character that spends more than one episode with the Doctor in the TARDIS, I think, is technically considered a companion.
Okay, fine. My favorite companion is Jack Harkness.
Of course.
Even in some of the classic episodes, there were companions who were there for just one episode.
Yeah, Mickey.
One story, I should say.
Mickey's a companion. He only did the one trip.
Only one? I thought two. But okay.
Wait, who? I didn't hear.
Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey and even Jackie.
Yeah, even Jackie. Yeah, because Mickey doesn't travel with 9, but he does travel with 10.
Yeah, a couple episodes.
Yeah, aforementioned Girl in the Fireplace.
Also, again, spoilers. Donna's grandfather kind of considered a companion.
You know, he's one of my favorite characters of the Tennant era. I know we're not there yet, but I love me some Wilfred Bott. You'll see why, Ben. You'll see why.
Okay.
Enough future spoilers, because we're gushing about stuff Ben hasn't seen yet.
Wibbly wobbly timey-wimey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, Ben, if you want to kick off our Series 3 list, what is your number 5?
Smith and Jones.
That is my number 5 as well. The Doctor goes undercover at the Royal Hope Hospital in London, where he meets medical student Martha Jones. Don't ask me why I said that with a British accent. The entire hospital is transported to the moon by the Jadoon, a Jadoon platoon on the moon.
Jadoon platoon upon the moon.
I heard was very hard for David Tennant because of his Irish accent, or Scottish accent, sorry. A brutal outer space police force for hire who are searching for the blood-sucking Florence Finnegan. Mrs. Finnegan is a plasmavore and has been assimilating the human blood of hospital workers to avoid detection. The doctor, an alien, allows her to drink his blood, and she's detected as non-human and executed. Martha revives the doctor using CPR. The doctor stops Finnegan's attempt to destroy her Jadoon pursuers, along with half of Earth, with a magnetic pulse from an MRI machine in the hospital when he shuts the machine down. The doctor invites Martha to join him on a trip in the TARDIS in return for saving his life. This is the way you kick off a new companion. This is... Wow.
Right in the first 5 minutes, you get introduced to not only the Martha herself, you see her sister, you see her brother, you see her mother, you see her father, her father's girlfriend, the family feud that's going to be a theme throughout the entire season. And then she meets the doctor.
And you get what kind of character Martha is from the beginning. Because, I mean, outside of her love for Tennant, her character, the person who she is, doesn't change all that much. It's there right from the beginning. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And minor spoiler, you definitely see her. How can I say this without spoiling too much? But you definitely see that essence of the character that you were mentioning in an episode from next season where she technically hadn't met the doctor yet. That's the best way I can say without spoiling too much.
What?
I will message you personally.
You message me privately, because even I'm confused, and I've seen the season series 4 quite a bit. Because, spoiler, she does pop up in series 4. Now, are you taking the first or second time?
I'll message you personally.
Yes, please, because I'm about to start Turn Left today.
You guys, okay.
We're geeks. We're geeks about this show.
That's kind of the episode I was going to mention. But okay. We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. That was also my number 5. I like the look of the Jadoon. I really do.
Rhinos. Yeah, rhinos. Yeah.
And also, not only just the look of them, but the introduction of the idea that there is this space police for hire, essentially. And the Jadoon also pop up in several other stories throughout the Whoniverse. And something special about them, first of all, they're incredibly stupid. Because, rhinos, I mean, they're not too far off from reality, but they have a language that the TARDIS can't translate, which is something pretty interesting.
So you'll be able to...
I don't know if it's because they're so advanced or just because they're so stupid, but
maybe a little bit
kind of weird.
Did they ever appear in Classic Who?
No. Like I said, it's the introduction of them.
Oh, okay. So essentially this is a Russell T Davies creation.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's got Russell T Davies written all over it.
True, but you're 100% right on that.
Are they more police or are they more bounty hunters?
I think it's a mixture of both.
Okay.
Actually, I never thought about it like that, but I guess they follow a strict code that's more in line with police than bounty hunter code.
But the bounty hunter thing can come in because bounty hunter don't really have much jurisdiction, whereas like cops, for the most part, they can't go.
Yeah, and even the head Jadoon in this episode says our jurisdiction is ended. We have no authority over human crimes.
And I like that, where it's like as soon as the job's done, peace, we're out.
and it makes sense that they're rhinos because they're very straightforward. You go in, you do the job, and you get out. Never mind the humans who are dying because they have oxygen starvation. You came in to find the perpetrator. You kill it. You leave.
Straight to the point.
Exactly.
Because rhinos again, they charge straight on ahead and run into their target. Sometimes not even realizing why they even did that in the first place.
Alrighty, Ben. Since we both have the same number 5, let's see if we have the same number 4.
I found it. Quick.
Punt.
Figured.
And this is probably going to be a punt as well. My number 4 is the 3-parter of Utopia, Sound of Drums, and Last of the Time Lord. So.
Right.
Is your number 3?
No.
Okay. So then what is your number 3?
Evolution of the Tyrants.
So Daleks Take Manhattan, Evolution of the Daleks 2-parter is on my honorable mention.
I love this episode. Anytime you have a Dalek, it's going to be in my top 5, spoiler alert. Because I just find it very interesting and very cool. And I love the introduction to the human dialect.
Is that what that is, 50?
Yep.
Right on.
A human Dalek. I am your future. Such an ominous way to end an episode.
Oh,
he kind of doesn't do that in the next one, but whatever.
And I love the pigmen. I think that was really cool.
I love the look of the pigmen, for sure.
Yeah.
I felt like I was Kramer in the Seinfeld, and it's pigmen, Harry. Pigmen.
Sure.
And the thing about them is that I was going to mention last episode, I love that they reused the Jadoon. A missed opportunities, they never actually reused the slabs. You know what the slabs are? The black guys with the helmet.
No,
the leather.
I don't know.
They were the guys who were working with the plasma bore. The plasma bore.
Oh, those guys. I didn't know that was their
Yeah,
name.
they never reused them. And the doctor even says that they're basic slave drones. That's a perfect idea for a universe like Doctor Who. Never seen again. At least not in live action in any case.
Yeah.
But the pig slaves for the Daleks, it's a great idea that they did that, and they stole humans and made them into that, because in classic Who, oftentimes the Daleks, especially in the Third Doctor era, they used creatures called Ogrons as kind of their slaves, because obviously Daleks don't have hands, so they need someone to do the heavy lifting. That's why the pigmen, as Ben calls them.
Gotcha.
But Russell T Davies, I don't think he wrote the episode, obviously, but he could have just found some way for the Ogrons to come back. Instead, he did something new and original. I said this multiple times, something he does better than Stephen Moffat. I think if it was Stephen Moffat, the showrunner, he would have definitely had the Ogrons back. But since it was Russell T Davies, he created something new and original specifically for that episode.
So the writer of this episode is someone called Helen Rayner, who worked as a story editor at the BBC at the time. She wrote this 2-parter, and then she wrote series 4 2-parter, The Sontaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky.
Woo! That's actually one of the better ones of that season, and that's saying a lot, because there are a lot of good ones in that.
Yeah.
Well, don't say too much. I got to watch that.
Oh, we're just giving you a little bit of a touch.
What we're basically saying is, if you love those 2 episodes, you're gonna love those 2 episodes as well.
Nice.
Yeah, the only thing that doesn't quite it kind of irks me a little bit is I don't like the female lead's voice. The stereotypical 1920s talk. I don't know. It just feels in a British show. It kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
I mean, because it's a British show, that's why I think it works. Because hey, this is how British people think Americans are talking. I mean,
yeah. How many times have the Americans or North Americans messed up a British accent?
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. Normally, I'm actually okay with it. I just didn't like how she did it.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know.
What do you mean, creatures?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'll tell you this. Here's another reason why I'm okay with it. It might surprise you to know that it's not actually the first time the Doctor's been in New York. In fact, it's not even the first time. Yeah, sure. But it's not even the first time he was in the Empire State Building. He was there very briefly in an episode called The Chase. And in that episode, he kind of ran into these 2 other American people. If you think that lady's American accent was bad, you gotta watch that episode.
Okay. Talking about this episode, I think you guys mentioned Andrew Garfield. Before I watched this episode, you guys mentioned Andrew Garfield was in this series.
Yeah.
So I figured hey, finally we're going to get him in his native accent. Much to my surprise when he pops up doing that American 20s accent, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, but alternative. I mean, if you want to hear Andrew Garfield speaking in his regular accent, you could just watch interviews. But to Soda's point, did he do a good job with that?
His, I liked it because it wasn't like over. It wasn't over the top, which is what I felt that actress's was. His, I felt it. It seemed more natural.
No, I agree with
I guess
that.
shows just how much of a greater actor he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's Andrew Garfield.
With that, I'm trying to think. With this, he probably before or after the social network. Do we know?
Oh, years before. This came out. Those two parters were April of
3 years ish.
3-4 years.
Before he blew up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, Ben, you might find another actress you would recognize from a similar franchise, a similar Inner Geekdom franchise.
3 years.
Pop up in the next season.
Interesting.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm curious. I mean, we told you about Andrew Garfield. I wonder if you can recognize this actress next season.
Maybe tell me off camera. Okay.
I just watched these and I'm just like, who the fuck is he talking about?
I mean, if you're about to start Turn Left, you've already seen her. Again, I'll message you personal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Fuck. Now I'm... Okay. All right. Well, here number 3. What?
It's in spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. I mean, she's not a major part of the episode, but it's still an interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, here number 3,
The Shakespeare Code.
On my honorable mention.
Expelliarmus!
I love this episode. The only reasons why it's not number 1 is because there are 2 great episodes that follow. This was only the 2nd episode of the series, but damn. Woo! The Doctor and Martha land around Southwark in 1599, where they discover that William Shakespeare is under the spell of witch-like aliens known as Carianites, who are forcing him to finish Love's Labours 1 using a puppet. The Doctor learns that they are using the powerful words of the play to bring back their imprisoned species. The words spoken by the actors are instructions which open a portal. The Doctor tries and fails to get Shakespeare to stop the play's performance at the Globe Theatre. When the Carianites start coming through the portal, the Doctor convinces Shakespeare to use his own powerful gift of words to close the portal. The closing of the portal brings all the copies of Shakespeare's lost play with the Carianites. Now, Love's Labours 1 was a real play, and it really is lost. It's only been mentioned a couple times in historical documents. That's the only reason we know it exists, but no one's laid eyes on it since it debuted.
Yeah, and that's another thing that Doctor Who does well, similar to the sequel to the Charles Dickens book that he started writing in the first Eccleston season. That's a real thing. He really did start writing a sequel to Edwin Drood, and he never got around to finishing it.
And you'll see this again in Series 4. They do it so well when if they're meeting a historical character, they do it at a moment of that character's real life where there's some ambiguity to it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it's like this is our real world explanation for why this particular thing happened.
Nice.
Yeah. And just like with the Charles Dickens one where he's visited by ghosts in Christmas, we get to see William Shakespeare with witches.
Yes, and there's so many great lines in this one. Like he was it when Shakespeare comes up, tries to come on to the Doctor, and the Doctor's like, what was it, 57
academics just punch the air.
Now, do you know why that's so funny?
No.
Because that particular sonnet 57, written by William Shakespeare, scholars have been arguing whether or not, after all these years, he was really writing it to a man.
Oh.
That's why that line is funny.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But this episode in general is just littered with good lines from William Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah. It's like we're in Harry Potter song. Oh, wait till you read the 7th book. I cried. And then a couple months later, the 7th book comes out.
And also, right at the end there, he's singing to Martha, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? He says that to Martha.
That reminds me, there's a trope that continues, and it happens in all 3 of Tennant's seasons. This is the second time it's happened. It's going to happen once more next season. It's whenever the companion starts to talk like the locals.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, no, just please don't do that.
Don't. Leave it to me. I'm the professional.
My favorite reference 50 years in the beginning.
Expelliarmus! It would have, in today's context, it's a little weird to hear the doctor say, good old JK, but,
You know what?
It was topical at the time.
It was topical at the time, and I know sidetrack, I know she said some really bad things, but she's also done a lot of good things, so that kind of makes it, like, really hard.
I just heard recently that she lost her billionaire status because she donated a lot of money to charity.
Yeah.
So, I think they said this in this season of Doctor Who, but if you can't judge a person by their worst actions.
Exactly. Which unfortunately a lot of people in the world do.
Yeah.
And
especially today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is a lot of fun. Okay, sorry, what, Ben?
So they were after the Goblet of Fire, right?
Oh yeah. Goblet of Fire. Yeah. What was it? Goblet of Fire came out, the movie.
Yeah,
it was actually around the same time that Order of the Phoenix came out.
Yeah, and David Tennant was first appeared as the Doctor not long afterwards. It was in the same year, I think.
I think Goblet of Fire was either 2005.
05. It was 05. I know for a fact.
Okay, 05. So yeah, like 2 years later, he was announced as the Doctor. Or no, the next year.
Actually, he was supposed to be the Doctor instead of Eccleston.
Oh yeah.
At first, but then they gave it to Eccleston.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad they did, because it put
me too.
Solid groundwork for what we had coming.
Yeah.
And we got a great Doctor out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that was my number 3.
Okay.
So you're number 2.
And it's like the question from earlier. The last of the Time Lords.
So yeah, I included Utopia. You could kind of say is more like a prequel to the final 2 episodes, but I'm still including it as a 3-parter.
I've seen people do both.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, no, this entire 3-parter, it's the reintroduction of Captain Jack Harkness into main Doctor Who continuity, because at this point he is in his own series, Torchwood, which is at the beginning of the episode is where Martha and the Doctor are with the TARDIS, because the Rift is in Cardiff, which is where Torchwood Institute is located inside the Rift. Yeah, and in the series, Captain Jack Harkness moved Torchwood to Cardiff, and he explains it in I can't remember which of these episodes, but he explains this like, I moved it there because I knew you'd have to come and refuel at some point.
Actually, there's like 4 Torchwoods, I think. The main one is Canary Wharf, which was destroyed. Second one's in Glasgow. Jack's Torchwood is number 3, and then the 4th Torchwood is lost. No one knows where it is, which is kind of a reference to Babylon 5.
Oh, what?
Babylon 4 is yeah.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
So the first part of this triple header, the TARDIS parks in Cardiff to refuel itself with energy from a time rift. The Doctor's former companion, Captain Jack Harkness, jumps onto the outside of the TARDIS, making it travel to the planet Malcasero? Yeah, Malcasero, at the end of the universe, 100 trillion years in the future. Surrounded by a group called the Future Kind, the Doctor, Martha, and Jack escape for the safety of Silo 16, where the last of humanity are waiting to board a rocket to Utopia. The Doctor powers up the engines, and Jack fixes the rocket's couplings, making it viable for launch. Martha notices that Professor Yana, the rocket's designer, has a fob watch exactly like the one which turned the Doctor into a human. Yana notices the watch and opens it, changing his biology back into his true identity. A Time Lord called the Master. The Master and Yana's assistant, Chanto, mortally wound each other, and the Master regenerates. As the rocket takes off, the Master steals the Doctor's TARDIS, stranding the Doctor, Martha, and Jack in the silo with the Future Kind. Now, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we would have really liked to have seen this actor play the Master." Well, you got your wish, because in the Big Finish, they made him the War Doctor. This is the Master.
The War Master.
The War Master. This is the version of the Master that was around during the Time War, Professor Young.
And he's got the beard.
And he's got the beard.
Nice.
Yeah. And so from there, we're led into the sound of drums. Using Jack's repaired vortex manipulator, the Doctor, Martha, and Jack landed present-day London the day after the general election. The Master has hypnotized the world with a network of mobile phone satellites called Archangel, allowing him to be elected Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He imprisons Martha's family on board the flying aircraft carrier, the Valiant, of which he intends to televise first contact with a race he calls the Toclafane the following morning. The Doctor, Martha, and Jack fail to unmask the Master, and the Master takes the Doctor and Jack as prisoners. An invasion force of billions of Toclafane come to Earth. The Master orders them to wipe out a tenth of Earth's population. Martha escapes to the surface using Jack's vortex manipulator, which brings us into the last of the Time Lords. 1 year later, Martha returns to England. The Master is readying a fleet of rockets to attack other worlds. Tricking the Master into bringing her on board the Valiant, Martha turns the Master's mind control satellite technology against him. Having traveled the world to gather support for the captured and weakened Doctor, she has instructed them to think of the Doctor just as the Master intends to launch his fleet, so that their combined thoughts traveling through the network are able to rejuvenate him. Jack destroys the paradox machine that originally brought the Toclafane. The descendants of humanity regressed to a childlike form to the 21st century. This undoes the events of the previous year. Lucy Saxon, the Master's wife, shoots and kills the Master. The Doctor cremates his body. Jack decides to return to the Torchwood Institute in Cardiff, and Martha stays behind to look after his family. Now, the most heartbreaking moment of this trilogy, it's when the Doctor realizes who the Toclafane are, and it is the people that were on the ship to go to Utopia.
The people he saved. The humans he saved.
Holy, talk about a gut punch.
Yeah.
It's Martha that figures it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
but at the beginning of the last part, the Master mentions that they broke his hearts because he figured out what they really are.
Yeah. It's just...
Now, okay, I want to ask you guys something. At the very end of the last part, as Jack was leaving, he said something that made the Doctor and Martha giggle and say, what the hell?
No!
Yeah, what? Can you guys explain that?
So he says on his own world he was called the Face of Bo. That doesn't really ring a bell to you?
Oh shit, he was that giant face?
Yeah!
Apparently. I don't think it's ever really been 100% confirmed. Has it?
I mean, that was Russell T. Davis's intention. And I'm sorry to do this again, but sorry, Stephen Moffat. This is how you do it. This is how you make a mystery box and seal it, leaving the audience guessing.
And this has been one of the more fun ones that we've been keeping guessing on this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, 5 billion years is a very long time. It is always possible something might have happened to him.
Yeah, I've always read it was possible because of a genetic mutation.
Yeah, and now the one contradiction to that is that in the Torchwood episode Children of Earth, he basically gets his entire body blown up at the beginning, and he grows his entire body back to Captain Jack Harkness.
I remember that.
But I mean, how many times can he do that? I guess at some point he just got his head cut off and all he was left was a head. But it might not have been 5 billion years from now, because the Face of Bo does technically appear in the Long Game, which could also be a different Face of Bo, but still.
All I know is it's really a fun little thing to the fans.
Yeah,
Really
I like that because he showed up the Face of Bo in right?
In the first one, in the second episode.
Before we even knew who Jack was.
Yeah.
And actually, in in Lego Dimensions, there's a side quest, a side mission where you help Captain Jack Harkness find a bunch of ood, and they sing a birthday song to the face of Bo.
Nice.
And obviously it's John Barrowman doing the voice, but at some point he's like, "Wait, I was called the face of Bo once. What a coincidence!"
Yeah.
Another
Nice.
wink at the audience.
Nice. I love it when they do stuff like
You know, but you know why the face of Bo, though, right?
No.
Because Jack Harkness was born and raised in the Bo Shane Peninsula.
Yeah, so they called him the face of Bo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I learn something new every day with this show. Every day I learn something new.
Especially when I'm around. But going back to the episode itself, what a great way to reintroduce the Master back into modern Who.
Mhm.
I mean, Stephen Moffat did a great job introducing the Master. Later, Chris Chibnall didn't quite do as good of a job.
I guess it is Moffat later, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Moffat.
Roper Capaldi.
Yeah, Moffat reintroduced the Master.
Yeah.
Chris Chibnall also reintroduced the Master, not quite in as much of a stellar way, but I think once again Davis takes the cake with the introduction of the Master. Just like he reintroduced the Daleks, just like he reintroduced the Cybermen, just like he's gonna reintroduce another classic villain next season. No spoilers here, but yeah, what a great way to introduce this iconic classic villain. And interestingly enough, the Master was first introduced in the Third Doctor's run.
Carlos Delgado.
Roger Delgado.
Carlos Delgado was a baseball player.
And this version of the Master was introduced in series 3. A little bit of connectivity there.
And what I like is the foreshadowing they put throughout this whole season. You keep hearing the name Harold Saxon. You got the episode that has the fob watch, which is perfect foreshadowing for later, which is how Martha recognizes it. This is a lot of good little hints they're dropping along the way.
And this is actually what this show does the best.
Yep.
I mean, you can criticize the Timeless Children all you like from the Chris Chibnall era. I mean, there was some good foreshadowing there. It kept people guessing.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have liked the outcome, but it was good, a good guessing game.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I said, Stephen Moffat did brilliantly with the cracks and the silence. And yeah, Davis does it again. First with Bad Wolf, then Torchwood, now this. Yeah. And there's also something sort of kind of like that in series 4. No spoilers for Ben.
Which I can't wait to start tonight.
You know what? I realized listening to all my phones pick on this.
Did we? What was your fourth pick?
Blink.
No, I said it was a punt.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Which is what we're going to be talking about now because Blink is my number 2. Speaking of Stephen Moffat. It's funny. It's always funny that people give him crap for being a showrunner, but man, he wrote some of the best episodes. And this is easily the best Dr. Light episode they've done.
Yeah.
No arguments there.
And we had the worst last season, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Yeah, Love and Monsters.
Yeah. Okay. We don't need to go over that again.
So Blink. The Doctor and Martha are sent back in time to 1969 by the Stonelight Weeping Angels. The Doctor records a message containing half of a conversation. Billy Shipton, who changes his career to publishing, hides it in Easter eggs on DVDs. In 2007 London, photographer Sally Sparrow takes a Yale key from an angel's hand. The angel follows Sally, who discovers the TARDIS in an impoundment lot. The angels take the TARDIS to an abandoned house. Sally and her friend's brother Larry have a conversation with the Doctor's message from one of the DVDs. He tells them to send the TARDIS back to him in 1969. The angels have locked the entrances to the house. Sally and Larry flee to the cellar where the TARDIS is hiding. Using the key to get inside, Larry inserts the DVD, a control disc, in a slot on the console. The TARDIS leaves for 1969, and Sally and Larry are left behind in the cellar. The angels, all looking at each other, are frozen because of a defense system that turns them to stone when observed. A year later, Sally gives a transcript of the message to the Doctor before the angels attack him. Now, Ben, do you know who plays Sally Sparrow?
Carey Mulligan.
Yes. When I saw that, I was like,
My second favorite mulligan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, this episode is so great because it's a mystery. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And then when you see her friend, Kathy Nightingale, get put back into the past, you're like, oh, fuck.
And again, that's what Stephen Moffat does the best. Stephen Moffat is a genius in these types of stories, whether it's a full season or just one standalone episode.
No, it's just great. I like how they make it feel modern. I mean, we've already got some stuff, but something about the introduction of DVDs was pretty cool. And I like how the Doctor's always thinking ahead. He uses the person who's fancying Sally, who gets transported back in the past, to put these on the DVDs out there. Like, I think it's just brilliant.
It was great.
And I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but I've had this Lego Weeping Angel that I've been moving around the last couple of 40 minutes throughout the entire episode.
Okay, I've been seeing you move something around, but unfortunately, it's so small on the camera. I can tell now. I can see the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Lego one that I got from a Lego Ideas set.
Very cool.
So
Very
I'm gonna ask
cool.
you this of you 50 because Ben hasn't seen any of the other stuff. Do you think the Weeping Angels are the best new Doctor Who villain created in this revamp?
Well, when you say new, that's
Well, I
not
mean, it was created
anything that's
specifically
been...
after 2005. It's one or two. It's
yeah.
definitely top two.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah,
it's definitely up there.
Yeah, for me, it's the Silence of the Weeping Angels.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
both Stephen Moffat creations. People who want to criticize Stephen Moffat just what's the saying.
A little bit of a foreshadowing. Ben will understand this. I almost got the tally mark tattoos when I was younger.
You know, I want to make sure I get this right. So what they do is, if you look at them and your eyes are closed, they drop you in the past, and you have to go up without any. Okay.
Yeah. What was it? Was it the line they use? 50 when describing that.
I mean, they used a bunch of lines. You have to be more specific.
You put it in the chat last night.
The only psychopaths in the universe that kill you nicely.
Yeah. And slowly. And I like that. It's based off of the children's, well, as I know, Go, 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 Stop, but Red Light, Green Light as well is another name for it. It's based off a children's game.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is hands down one of the best episodes of the season. Okay, so time for honorable mentions. How many do you have, Ben?
I have 4. 42. The Lazarus Effect. Oh, 3, I guess. And then Shakespeare Chord.
I have Gridlock. 42, which I just found out was written by Chris Chibnall.
Again, people who want to criticize Chris Chibnall for ruining Doctor Who in their eyes, I mean, he did do a lot of great stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And then the other honorable mention is Daleks Take Manhattan / Evolution of the Daleks.
Well, I think we have the hit number 1.
I think so too. Human Nature, Family of Blood.
Yeah. Wow.
How could it not be? This is probably the best episode of, I'd say, Tennant's run.
Well, I can't say that yet, but over that 2 seasons, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so the first part, Human Nature. The Doctor is pursued by the Family of Blood. He transforms himself into a human and invents a new identity called John Smith, who becomes a school teacher in 1913 England, who dreams of his life as the Doctor and puts them down in a journal. The Doctor's true self is hidden in a fob watch, which when opened will turn Smith back into the Doctor. Martha takes care of, damn right. Oh, you have a Scarecrow. Nice. Martha takes care of Smith while she is undercover as a maid. After 2 months, the family arrive and take over the bodies of 4 humans. When the fob watch goes missing, Martha tries prompting Smith of his memories, which reveals his true identity to the family. The family hold Martha and Smith's date at the wedding village. The family hold Martha and Smith's date at the wedding dance. Nurse Joan Redfern hostage. Wow, they really cut that description off halfway through. Okay, so now we're going to go into Family of Blood. Latimer, a telepathic student who can hear the voices in the fob watch. Which, do you know who plays Latimer? He's
in the Maze Runner.
He's in the Maze Runner.
William
And
Porter,
Queen's
right?
Gambit.
Thomas Sangster, and he played a random guard. He played a random ship person in Force Awakens.
Okay.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just in one scene at the beginning. It was one of those famous cameos. He was in Love Actually, Nanny McPhee, Nowhere Boy is Paul McCartney. I love that movie. Yeah, Maze Runner 1, 2, 3. He was Force Awakens. Yeah.
Wow.
And most recently, Queen's
Oh, he
Gambit.
played Jojen in Game of Thrones.
Nice.
Okay.
Here are two Game of Thrones actors in this episode.
Yep. Okay, so at the village dance, the family of blood hold Martha and Joan Redfern captive, while the 10th Doctor, thinking he is a man named John Smith, struggles to understand what is happening. Timothy Latimer briefly opens the fob watch containing the Doctor's Time Lord's essence, and this momentarily distracts the family, enabling Martha to grab a gun and escape with the others back to the school. John sounds the alarm and helps to organize the school's defenses while Martha and Joan search for the watch. The family assaults the school with an army of animated scarecrows, but the schoolboys, who have military training, defend themselves against the first wave. When the family shows John that they have discovered his TARDIS, Joan accepts the truth that John is really the 10th Doctor. The family continued their assault while John, Joan, and Martha escape to an empty house in the village. They are found by Timothy, who returns the watch to them. Discovering that the Doctor has escaped, the family begin an aerial bombardment of the village from their hidden ship. Martha and Joan implore John to use the watch to become the Doctor and save everyone. John breaks down in tears, reluctant to give up Joan. The two share a vision enabled by the fob watch of what their lives would be like together as humans. The Doctor makes his way to the family ship, tricking the family into thinking his Time Lord essence is still in the watch. Quietly initiates an overload of the ship's power source, which causes the ship to explode. The Doctor and the family escape the explosion, but the Doctor captures them and issues each member an internal punishment. He pushes the mother out of the TARDIS into the event horizon of a collapsing galaxy, wraps the father in unbreakable chains, traps their daughter in every
Forced in the heart of a dwarf star. That's very important. Because dwarf star energy is pretty much eternal.
Yep.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed on Wikipedia. The Doctor, where was I? Traps their daughter in every
star part that makes it eternal. Okay. Just wanted to point that out.
Drops their daughter in every mirror in existence and suspends their son in time before putting him to work as a scarecrow. The Doctor returns to Joan and offers her a chance to travel with him in the TARDIS, but she refuses. She asks the Doctor whether anyone would have died had he not chosen to come to 1913. Timothy bids the Doctor and Martha goodbye, and the Doctor gives him the fob watch to keep. Later, during a battle in World War I, Timothy remembers a vision of a bombing and avoids being killed. Many years later, the elderly Timothy is seen attending a Remembrance Day service, which is also attended by the Doctor and Martha. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that because that is such a beautiful, beautiful scene. The very end, they're honoring him, and he's sitting there, and he's still holding the fob watch, and he looks up, and who does he see? Martha and the Doctor.
And it's a great thing that they kept that, because a lot of the times in Doctor Who, especially in expanded media stuff, a lot of characters, Sally Sparrow and Lawrence Nightingale included, a lot of characters just reach a certain point in life where they just feel like, did that actually happen? Did I really meet a guy named the Doctor? Was all of that real? And sad to say, but a lot of former companions of the Doctor lost their minds because of it and ended up in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
You really see that?
Not in the show. It's referenced in books and comics.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, especially episode 2 of this two-parter is easily David Tennant's best acting. I've got my own favorite scene for that. Ben's got his own, but you could easily put them together because they're right after the other. And it's, for me, it's when he's fighting with, do I give up everything that I have, that I want, do I give that all up to become this man that I thought was just a dream? Like, that is such great. And then for Ben, it's right after when he's in the ship and he goes from timid John Smith to the Doctor, just like that. And I remember the first time I saw it, like, I should have seen it coming that he had done it already. But even when I'm watching him hitting all the switches, I'm like, what the fuck's he doing?
Oh my God. He did so well playing that timid guy.
Yeah.
You did my intimate. Like, I didn't see it coming at all.
Can I just blow your minds for a second, though?
Yes.
If you really listen, You can tell he's the Doctor from the second he enters the ship
Really?
because his voice is different
It's
in
his
that
higher pitch.
scene. Than when he's playing not just the pitch, but just the way he speaks, the specificity of words,
His inflection.
And his voice definitely sounds a lot closer to the Doctor than to John Smith. It's one of those crazy Christopher Reeves having his hair one way as Clark Kent and the other way as Superman. One of the things that you don't really notice unless someone tells you about it, but it's there. And I noticed it for the first time last night when I watched it.
I want to bring this up to you guys. I think I brought it up in the group chat, but I want to bring it up here. What do you think of the theory that the reason why the punishments were so personal was because it was a final act of John Smith getting revenge of not getting the life he really wanted?
I think that's complete BS. And you know why?
Yes.
Because John Smith was dead at that point. There is no John Smith anymore. It's all the Doctor's doing. And I think the main reason for that, the Son basically says it outright. I mean, and if you understand the Doctor, especially the Tenant Doctor, this is just his thing. He's like, hey, I gave you a choice. I ran away from you guys and hide. Last season, I destroyed the freaking devil, okay? And even, like I said, the Son says that. The Doctor battled with gods and demons. Do you really think a family of scarecrows that die after 3 months is going to scare him? The guy's taking down Daleks. He destroyed Gallifrey. Like, you really think you guys have a chance against him? The only reason he ran away and hid himself as a human, he gave you a chance to turn back and walk away.
And that's what this Doctor does. He always gives people the one chance. And this is...
Yeah. And you're going to see that, Ben, in the next season.
Oh, you definitely will. But this is the first instance where we do see the vengeful 10th Doctor, which we really do see in the specials.
Yeah. He gave you a choice to run away, and you chose to not only pursue him, you basically destroyed an innocent village in the process. So you got what you deserve. And the most beautiful part about this is the punishment fits the crime. They wanted to live forever.
They're living forever.
The Doctor made sure that they did. And it goes back to the 20th anniversary, the 5 Doctors, where even Rassilon knew that immortality was a curse, not a blessing.
So
Which
this
kind of makes you wonder, though, are they still around at the time of Utopia? Like, are they still there?
we should probably ask Russell T Davies. I'm sure he.
Because if you really think about it logically, all the planets and stars died out. The only one who should technically be alive is the daughter, because she's in every mirror.
Yeah.
Or rather, every reflective surface.
So, little bit of a fun fact before we move on. So, this episode was taken from a novel that was also written by the guy who wrote the episode called Human Nature. Now, can you tell me which Doctor that story was for? The original version.
Sylvester McCoy, I think.
Yep, the 7th Doctor.
Do not challenge me, sir.
And this story is also the very first confirmation that the 8th Doctor is indeed canon.
Really?
Yes. Well, because prior to this, they never once mentioned anything remotely close to what happened in that movie. But in this, when you flip through the book, you see a sketching of Paul McGann.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the episode, not the...
No. This is
sorry, I thought you were talking about the book. Sorry, not the episode.
No, I'm talking... No, the book came out before the 8th Doctor. No, in this 2-parter is the first in-universe confirmation we have that Paul McGann existed.
It's the first confirmation in the new modern age of all the Doctors, because all of them pretty much show up in the sketches.
Well, no, I mean, School Reunion, I think, would be the first. The first true...
But you don't see the other Doctors.
No, but I mean, the first true link to the original series, because we have a companion from...
I mean, the first true link you need is the Daleks.
Touche. Touche. But you are right, though. This is the first official confirmation that all the other previous Doctors have existed, yes.
But not the last.
Not the last.
Not the last.
Oh man. All right, folks. So that brings an end to our series 3 talk. Now, what we started doing last episode.
Did you forget me again?
No, I'm introducing it, my friend.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my bad.
You cut me off as in the middle as when we introduced last week. So Ben and I do our list. 50 is going to give us his top 5 list, and we're going to see who has the most similarities. So 50, shoot it.
Okay, just need to. We talked about a lot of episodes today. I just need to refine my my list a little bit. Okay, just gonna put that over there. Okay, my list is gonna seem a little weird to you guys, but I can say you both got my top 5, my number 5, which is Smith and Jones.
Okay.
Great introduction to Martha, great introduction to Jadun. We talked enough about that episode. My number 4, though, Gridlock.
It is a good episode.
Yeah.
And mainly because, I mean, like we said earlier, a lot of foreshadowing. It's what the show does best sometimes is the old mixed in with the new. You bring in this guy, Thomas Kincaid Brannigan, and you also bring back Novice
I love how
Haynes.
he's got a freaking thing of Thomas Kincaid Brannigan. That just makes me happy.
And also, it's kind of a weird thing that the Doctor enjoys the little kitten things when he clearly mentioned he's not a cat person in the last season in Fear Her. And even in this specific comic, that's when the Doctor specifically is like, nope, going off. I'm no longer a cat person. I hate cats now, which is actually after this episode. But it's kind of crazy to think that all 4 or 5 of these episodes happened at the same time with very few adventures in between for the Doctor and Martha. But Brannigan, the introduction of obviously the face of Bo comes back. The foreshadowing of Professor Yana, You Are Not Alone, and also the first time we actually get to the Doctor talking about Gallifrey, and the introduction of the song, and he's describing Gallifrey, which, by the way, we've been on Gallifrey multiple times in Classic Era, never really seen too much of it.
No, it's right.
So everything he's describing, everything is describing the Citadel, the glass dome, everything.
We don't see that later on, do we? Not including.
We see it in this very same season, as a matter of fact.
No,
which
but I
we'll
mean,
get to on my list.
After this, do we see ever in the 50th? I know we do, but I mean, in regular series, do we ever see Gallifrey?
Yeah, we see Gallifrey even in the Capaldi era.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3. The Shakespeare Code.
Okay.
Also, I forgot to mention regarding Gridlock. Great way to introduce an almost forgotten classic villain, the Macra.
Oh, really? They're a classic villain?
Yeah, they're from the second Doctor era.
Oh, wow.
The Macra Terror, one of the more recent episodes that got an animated remake, sort of, because it's part of the missing episodes. And it would be an interesting episode to see today, considering a lot of the episode has to deal with fake news and the government keeping secrets, because that's basically what the Macra are.
That's right.
They were hidden underground, and the minute anyone dared speak up against the government and just say that there's something wrong, they just threw them to the Macra. And it's like, there's even a scene in there where just a guy just yells, "There's no such thing as Macra! Macra doesn't exist!" And no one even mentioned the word Macra at that point. So, like, why are you saying this thing that no one's even heard of? Why are you saying that doesn't exist? But
fake news. Fake news.
Yeah, exactly. Fake news. Getting sidetracked here. The Shakespeare Code, like I mentioned, a lot of really quotable lines. Also, the second time ever, an arrow was shot into the door of the TARDIS.
And that reminds me, we did skip over this. The end of the episode where we see Queen
Elizabeth I,
and she's like, "The Doctor, shoot him!" We get
his head.
We get that payoff later on.
Okay,
Twice.
I won't say anything, but just keep in mind. Think about it when we. No, just
don't tell.
Put in your mind. Put in the back of your mind.
Real quick, I want to bring something up about Gridlock.
Yeah.
When the face-up core said, "You're not alone," is that Jack remembering what happened at the end of the season?
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And he's got to be cryptic because, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, he can't actually say that the master is out there. He just has to be very specific with his words, because even in that episode, the doctor makes out that it's the master because "you are not alone" is, there's the acronym is YANA.
Yeah. I think they even touch on that in that episode later. They break it down, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3. Also, like I said, connectivity between the Shakespeare Code and Gridlock. You actually see the doctor removing the arrow.
Yeah.
Pull the arrow out. It's like, okay, the arrow didn't burn in the time vortex when they made the trip 5 billion years into the future. But yeah, like I said, that's number 3. Number 2, Blink, for all the reasons we mentioned earlier. And I mean, number 1, can anyone guess what it is?
Human Nature, Family of Blood.
Here come the drums. Here come the drums.
Gotcha. Utopia.
I mean, those are my number 3. I count all 3 of them.
Me too.
I understand people who put Utopia aside, but I count all 3 of them as a 3-parter because, let's be honest, that's what Doctor Who's been doing from the beginning.
Yeah. So
several episodes as part of one big major story.
How many of those did you have the same?
I mean, none of you guys had Gridlocked.
No.
No, but I had the Shakespeare Code.
And I
think Ben also did.
Yep. No, Ben, that was an honorable mentions.
Okay.
I had Blink. I had Smith and Jones. And I think that's it.
I had all but our number 1s.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, Human Nature is an honorable mention, simply because I don't think it's a great Doctor. I don't think it's a great Doctor episode. It's a great Martha episode.
100.
Because we don't get to see the Doctor too much in this episode. That's John Smith.
Yeah, no, you. I will not argue that. It's definitely Martha's episode.
Yeah.
No.
And is it weird? I don't remember this with Rose, but do they do one a season where it's mostly companion-centric episode? Because I know they do it again in series 4.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. But I'm pretty sure they've done it as well in.
I mean, Father's Day. I guess you could consider that.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And here, the one about no, he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fear Her would kind of fall into the same thing as Father's Day because yes, the Doctor is in there, but it's more about the companions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, the Human Nature, and Family of Blood. Another honorable mention, 42. As we mentioned, I love and hate that episode at the same time because I don't like ticking clock episodes. I don't like it when the plot reminds me how long it is till the episode ends. A pet peeve of mine, I can't stand with people just when they're watching an episode or a video on YouTube and they just slightly nudge the mouse to see how long, how much time is left till it's over. Just watch the damn thing. But yeah, I love that episode. Also, Vinette Robinson is in that episode, which we get to see her later in another episode in the season that was Chris Chibnall's first season as showrunner. No spoilers there, but
I'm looking that up.
Yeah, another honorable mention.
No fucking way!
The penny drops. The penny drops.
Awesome. I'm not going to go any further than that.
Yeah. But yeah, another honorable mention. Time Crash, which we just watched before starting this recording. And also, I got to bring this up, The Infinite Quest, which was an animated multi-part thing. I think it was like 12 parts. It was just 2 minutes each, but then they combined it all into one episode-long thing. Did any of you guys watch that, though?
I'm going to buy, next time I get a little bit of scratch, I am going to buy it, and I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
I think it's like $4 on iTunes. And what they did is they split it into 2.
Oh, okay. I found the full thing somewhere, but
did you like it online?
It's not
Tell me
legally.
after. Tell me
Okay,
after.
but yeah. So I like the concept of this, and it kind of paved the way to another animated episode, which we'll get to later. And it's a great detour because it takes place after evolution of the Daleks and before the Lazarus experiment. So it's like another detour from this one trip only ride. And if you ever wondered, in the episode immediately after the sound of drums, the last of the Time Lords, the Doctor does mention that he's 903 years old.
Yes.
If you want to know why, it's in that episode because he spends 3 years in that episode.
Isn't that the first time he ages as well?
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So next week we have got Series 4, which is the return, and we never actually talked about that episode, the Christmas special. That never came up for anybody.
Oh yeah, that's weird. I gotta say though, the first time in the modern era where you actually hear Gallifrey's name being said out loud.
Yeah,
that's the first mention of Gallifrey, and it's kind of interesting that the Doctor's species was basically like Yoda for the first couple of seasons in the classic era. You didn't know their names; they were only named Time Lords in the final story of the second Doctor, and the name Gallifrey didn't even appear until season 10, which was the introduction of Sarah Jane Smith.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
It took them that long to come up with the name.
Can I ask you guys something? In the land of the Time Lords,
Yep.
when we see the Doctor and that little creature, did either of you get Gollum vibes?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit of Gollum, a little bit of Yoda.
A little bit of Dobby, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, because British. But
Yeah, why not?
speaking of heartbreaking moments in that episode, I always cry when the Master refuses to regenerate, knowing the long and complicated history that these two have. Because those two have been pretty much everything at one point or another. They've been friends, enemies, siblings, a couple even at one point. They've done everything together. The Capaldi era, but
yes, okay, never mind. Yeah, no,
some things happen in the Capaldi era that kind of makes you look at this episode in a different way.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say it yet because it's in the Capaldi era, and we still got a long way till we get there. But
I have a question. Do we see? Let's say yes or no. Do we see this actor again as a Master?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers.
By the way, that's the reason I have this beard that you can barely even see. But yeah, it's because the Master was always recognizable because of the beard. And even in Time Crash, the Fifth Doctor asks if the Master still has the rubbish beard
yet.
Hey, I didn't hear him having a beard in these.
No, that's a trademark of the Master's, the beard.
He didn't have one here, and the 10th Doctor makes a joke that he's got a wife now, so I guess the wife doesn't like the beard.
Yeah, because the original had a beard. I think the second incarnation had a beard. I'm trying to remember. No,
Eric Roberts one didn't have
a beard.
It was a staple of Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley, who both played the Master.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So 50. Where can everybody find you when you're not banging on some drums?
You can find me banging on some more drums on my YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. You can also find me occasionally on Twitch at 50 Shades of Geek, where I'm playing Lego Harry Potter and also building Lego Harry Potter sets in preparation for a upcoming Harry Potter trivia match that I have on the Outlaw Nation League, managed by the Great Soda here. You can also find me on this channel every Saturday on Get Sweaty with these two wonderful people in Hopefully Soul. And you can also find me on my Patreon, patreon.com/Pokemon Star, Cross, and Crescent, where I'm designing a Pokemon game based on Israel, where I live.
Nice. And Ben, what about you?
You can find me at Ben_Radio on Twitter every Tuesday on Shitty Louise, every Saturday on Get Sweaty, Also on Saturday, Matt the Sport Network, Sport Network show, I knew we were going to play this careers. Although this summer and September, we are going into factions. We didn't have an episode last week. We have the stuff going on. We're coming back this week, though. We have the stuff going on, though.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me on every goddamn show on this channel. You can find me over participating in the Outlaw Nation League, but mostly I will be focusing my efforts on managing 50 here. And then, yeah, you can also see me producing Let's Talk About Star Wars, which this upcoming week is the return of Star Wars Alien or Not the game, and we got quite the lineup there. So definitely check that out. So on behalf of myself, Ben Smith, 50 Shades of Drums, I am Soda from Gallifrey. Allons-y! Hey, sweaty folks.